Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Man, I really hope nothing crazy happened over the weekend, because that would be awkward, wouldn't it? That would be kind of weird if something wild happened during the weekend. Welcome, Derry Bennett, Quad Bennett, BPCL, Michael Hassler, Wolf Glen, welcome. Justin freaking welcome. You can send that to me by Whispers BPCL. Thank you all for joining. Today is going to be a slightly shorter stream. Things to do, folks. But nonetheless, not enough time to discuss everything. We were just talking about progressivism. They've been going on for years and they keep making new ones. Anyone else, low-key, really like these progressive don't become your parents commercials? No, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them either. Kamala for president. Who's next to VP? We'll talk about that. So, well, it happened, folks. It indeed is Jover. 100% Jover, as it seems. President Biden has decided to officially not accept the Democratic nomination and has decided to endorse or to back Kamala Harris for the for the nomination. I put Carlos's name in the box, and they even drew him, and they said, "Who put this in here?" And I said, "Me," and they were like, "What's his last name?" And I was like, "Shrug emoji." So they drew again. My bet is on Cooper for VP. You were almost VP. Can you imagine? So close. It has been a roller coaster of a couple of days. I'll say that much. It's been quite the roller coaster of a couple days, and man, first and foremost, I would like an apology from all these smug liberals, okay? Thinking that like Biden had the gas to win. I would personally like an apology. My DMs are open. I'm just saying. IRI's not in here. Personally, I mean, you know, numbers don't lie. I'm sorry, okay? The data that was coming in consistently showed that Biden just really, the path to victory for Biden was becoming less and less and less and less and less, to the point where, like, I would even argue he just basically did not have a path to victory. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that Kamala automatically is going to like win this race, okay? But certainly she has better odds than Biden at this time. Wonders where Alio's here. Yeah, amazing. From what I heard, Pelosi actually put the screws to him, which is pretty ironic given how many times she stood for speaker since the last time we wanted her, which was 2006. Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yes, absolutely. Uh, but I guess we'll start it from the top, right? Before we continue, folks, the usual disclaimers. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Keep liking the stream on YouTube. It really does help us out. Subscribe there, folks. We got a new merch store that just launched. Stream Elements has revamped their way of doing merch, so consider checking that out. You can even gift merch items to each other, so yeah, that's cool. If you want to support the channel, consider checking that out. Let's get started, folks, because I'm on the clock. Okay. So let's start from here. And has Biden actually made any type of announcement? Has Biden made an actual live announcement? Because as far as I remember, and mind you, it's been again a roller coaster of a weekend. As far as I can see, I've only seen a literal tweet, a statement that's been posted on social media. That's all we've gotten. Hasn't been seen in 2 days. Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought. The Simulacra, welcome. As far as I know, there have been no photos of Biden with today's newspaper. Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. Okay. This is literally what we have. July 21st, Sunday, folks. Literally yesterday. Biden's social Twitter posted this. My fellow Americans. Over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, expanding affordable health care, blah, 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 blah. Expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic. Well, no, COVID's very much still here, as he's literally going through it. And the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances across the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interests of my party and country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. Okay, so that's probably why. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing in America can't do. When we do it together, we just have to remember that we are the United States of America. Lauren Boebert has demanded it by 5, but it's only 3 in Colorado, so I think we're okay. Wants proof of life, yeah. Well, I guess we'll get it later this week. Now, so Biden officially has stepped down. And let's take a look at kind of the inner workings of how this came to be. Because, I mean, Really, it should have been done a long time ago, but anyways. um it's got to come in the next hour and a half, right? The nation can't just ignore the demand from Lauren Boebert, can they? True. That's very, very true. As Biden dug in on continuing his campaign, Nancy Pelosi, Mama Bear herself, kept the pressure on. Comrade Pelosi. Former Speaker Pelosi stepped down from her powerful perch in the House Democrats nearly a year and a half ago, but behind the scenes, sources say Pelosi, a Democrat from San Francisco, played a critical role in delicately nudging President Biden to the exit. Although Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Pelosi's protege, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both of New York, also told Biden about Democrats' concerns about him continuing his campaign, three sources told NBC News that at any time the issue of his dropping out began to die down and lose momentum, they viewed Pelosi as the one fanning the flames. Unlike Schumer and Jeffrey, Pelosi is no longer in the Democratic leadership team and could afford to be more front and center in the effort to push Biden out after his disastrous debate performance last month. Quote, I think Pelosi continues to show she's a master political tactician, a House Democratic leadership aide said on yesterday. Throughout Democrats' painful 3-week ordeal, Pelosi never publicly called on Biden to quit the race, neither did Schumer or Jeffries. Doing so could infuriate Biden and cause him to become intransigent and never step aside. Instead, Pelosi worked quietly and methodically, speaking to scores of rank-and-file lawmakers, members of her old leadership team, and her large network of Democratic donors who had once made her the party's most prolific fundraiser. Heat, how's it going? For those vulnerable rank-and-file lawmakers who reached out to her seeking guidance, two sources said, Pelosi advised they speak their conscience in the days leading up to Biden's stunning decision to drop out. A source close to Pelosi made it clear that she was not initiating conversations but fielding calls. On Friday, 13 congressional Democrats called on Biden to exit the race, the most defections in a single day, handing him what would be the fatal blow to his campaign. Mama Bear! You're too old, Joe, Pelosi said, leaving her mouth agape. Her entire jaw fell to the floor, which she quickly scooped up. Listen, Joe, we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way, punctuating hard way by thrusting her handheld mandible towards the president's face. Oh, man, hold on.
It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe. A winner. A winner. And here's what I have.
Amazing. The groundswell on Friday, members calling him to step down. It was all Nancy's doing, said a vulnerable House Democrat who spoke with Pelosi last week. During their call, why can't we get some names, man? These are heroes, okay? Heroes. Have a tic-tac. Oh, man, those commercials. During the call, the lawmaker said Pelosi asked twice about poll numbers, both for the lawmaker and for Biden in this person's swing district, so she could write them down. The gist was that she felt our ability to take back the majority was at risk, as the Democrat, a member of the party's frontline program for vulnerable congressional incumbents. Asked about how responsible Pelosi was for Biden stepping down, the lawmaker replied 50%. Amazing. It was all vintage Pelosi, who made history as the first female Speaker of the House and ruled House Democrats with a velvet glove for 2 decades, guide Democrats to where they needed to go, and have them make the final decision. In this case, the key Democrat was Joe Biden, and all in the party knew that he would have to be the one to make the final call to bow out. When Biden dug in and declared he would absolutely not drop out of the race, Pelosi appeared on his favorite show, MSNBC's Morning Joe. She kept the issue alive by saying Biden needs to make a decision because time is running short, even as his campaign insisted that he decided to stay in. In a private phone call a week after her MSNBC appearance, Pelosi warned Biden, 81, who's someone who she has known in Washington for more than 30 years, about the realities of the 2024 race. He could lose so badly to their mutual political foe, Republican Donald Trump, that he could damage Democrats down ballot and possibly cost them control of the House and the Senate. And after last week's assassination attempt on Trump shocked the nation and appeared to stall momentum to push Biden out, a trio of close Pelosi allies brought the story to the forefront. Adam Schiff, a vocal Trump critic who's the favorite to be California's next senator, on Wednesday became the highest-profile Democrat to call on Biden to step aside. Representative Jared Huffman, who represents a Bay Area district next to Pelosi's organizing a successful effort to delay the DNC from quickly coronating Biden as the party's nominee through a virtual roll call. Huffman and a third Pelosi ally, Bay Area Representative Zoe Lofgren, were among the surge of lawmakers calling on Biden to leave the race on Friday. No other Democrat understands the stakes of a possible second Trump term better than Pelosi, Schiff, and Lofgren. Pelosi, hunted by pro-Trump riders during the Capitol insurrection and later targeted at home by a man who fractured her husband's skull with a hammer, appointed Schiff, Lofgren, and others to join the January 6th Select Committee that concluded that Trump was to blame for the effort to overturn the 2020 election result and the deadly insurrection. I wasn't shocked as much as bemused. Yeah, I mean, like, it had to happen, right? Because the alternative is complete crashing and burning. That's it. Like, and let's just be very clear. Like, Pelosi and all these Democratic leadership, what they're concerned about is their positions, right? Because it's very possible that a Biden defeat could take the House with them. Could take the House with them, and then the people there are screwed. Pelosi should retire. She's old AF. Agreed. I don't know what that has to do with this, but yes, the absolute hubris of that kid to think that no one else has done this but I, a gun fanboy who isn't old enough to drink, surely knows better. Clyburn should retire. Also agree. Cami Cazion, welcome. A Democratic lawmaker said of Pelosi's strategy to affect the outcome she desires, she deploys her assets. It was certainly notable that many of her longest California allies were so outspoken, said Representative Katie Porter, who lost the Democratic nomination for Senate to shift this year after Pelosi endorsed him. And former Democratic leadership aide added, Biden has a history of losing and winning. Pelosi doesn't make moves unless she knows she'll win. We need an age limit for Congress. No way we want a 70-plus-year-old running the country. I originally agreed with that concept, but no, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think that there should be guardrails. But that's not necessarily tied to specifically age. Clyburn should retire or he can keep working, but give me his pension. That's right. He should, but he won't. Yes. If you're 70 plus, you've already been there for more than 10 years, you should go. But like that's the thing though. Like if you keep winning elections though, like should that be a problem? I think more importantly, we should address the issues of money in politics before that. Before anything. Before anything, you know what I mean? Arbitrary rules preventing democracy is bad in my opinion. Term limits. I mean, they kind of, well, no, they don't have term limits, right? I see where you're coming from, but a lot of time, if someone has been there for a decade, they probably aren't going to be replaced by someone from the opposite extreme. No, but like I think honestly, like the fundamental, I guess, Jenga piece that you need to remove before you start doing anything else, is address how politics are done here, right? And how politics are done here is essentially if you have enough money, you play, you get to play. 80s is too rigid in their thinking and they feel comfort from the status quo and they care too much about legacy BS. Right, but like the reason why they're there is because they're put there, right? Does that make sense? Like the reason why they're more successful, the reason why people like Pelosi are more successful at winning elections because they have the corporate money. It's a little more because term limits only limit people for winning elections. With an age limit, you could have somebody in office for 40 years. Yeah, if only Burnley had been booted out of Congress 20 years ago. Yeah, like you see, like I'm not in favor. Like on paper, it may sound good. On paper, it may sound like it works or like it makes sense, but like, nah. Nah, I'm not okay with that. You know, like maybe for appointed positions you can start making arguments. For appointed positions you can start making arguments for term limits. Like, you know, the bureaucrats that get appointed, or for example, so that you don't have like a constant revolving door of the same bureaucrats. You can probably maybe put like term limits on that, or maybe put term limits on things that aren't that don't involve elected officials. Like you can't restrict. You shouldn't restrict elected democratic processes in which you elect your officials. Does that make sense? If our elections were more democratic, this wouldn't be an issue, and kicking out people arbitrarily doesn't make it more democratic, right? I live in a state where term limits are and it has been an absolute disaster. Nothing good has ever come from it. Yeah, okay. There I go. Put into practice. Boom. Right there. Feinstein was out of it and Pelosi wheeled her into votes. Cognitive decline can be tested. Yeah, I mean, like, if it's obvious that you cannot do your duty as a public servant, like a senator, president, congressperson, whatever, then like, yeah, you probably there should be there probably should be some type of process for that. Like the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court is not elected, and I think that it's fundamentally undemocratic. So, you know, I would be more in favor of putting more restrictions on them, since they are not a institution that is elected. Does that make sense? We can do tests and require transparency. I think that's a good middle ground. I mean, for at least for the presidency, I don't know if it works the same way for Congress, but at least for the presidency, in theory, there are ways to be like, hey, this guy cannot perform the duties. But yeah. In any case, I think this time Malaka, actually, I think it was you who basically laid out correctly the case for no term limits, and because we've had this discussion before, and I think I agree with you. Fox News meltdown over Harris. Yes, we have that one on cue. Can we make psychopathy grounds for being unfit? I don't know. I think that like I think that we should have guardrails, but messing with the democratic process is where things get tricky. Anyways. Asked about the impetus of her statement Friday, Lofgren didn't dismiss her proximity to Pelosi. They've served together for nearly 3 decades, but it said it was a decision she made herself. She's not directing anyone to do anything. This is from me, she said on MSNBC. I guess that's for a future society, but we already have age requirements for each situation, so having age limits seems just as viable. No, that's different, though. That's apples and oranges, right? That's apples and oranges. It's different to say, like, hey, you need to at least be a freaking adult, versus, like, putting the limit at the top. Biden was angered and hurt when Pelosi's former running mate, Barack Obama, and other Democratic leaders declined to support him, sources said. But when he announced his decision on Sunday, Pelosi was quick with a magnanimous statement. Quote, President Biden is a patriotic... I'm not reading all that. Shortly after he announced he wouldn't stand for re-election, Biden quickly endorsed the vice president and running mate Kamala Harris to replace him on the ballot. Party luminaries quickly followed his lead, including Schiff, Bill, and Hillary Clinton, who originally told him to stay in. Clyburn, a top Biden ally and longtime member of the Democratic leadership, President Pro Tem Patty Murray of Washington, who was third in line to the presidency, and Progressive Representative AOC. But Pelosi, Schumer, and Jeffries have yet to endorse Harris, a former San Francisco district attorney who has known Pelosi for decades. Given her track record, Pelosi could play a key role in either securing the nomination for Harris or helping a potential rival get the nod at the convention in Chicago in August, though many of Harris's potential rivals, including a fellow Californian, Governor Newsom, have already endorsed her for president. I think maybe the Pope called Biden to say it's time. Pelosi is politically still our leader, said the frontline Democrat said she and she alone can ensure Kamala's success. Not all Democrats believe Pelosi's efforts have put the party in a better position for November. Some worry that Republicans will follow through on threats to sue to keep Biden on the ballot, arguing that replace him would disenfranchise 14 million primary voters who cast their votes for him. But here's the thing. None of that really matters because it's not like the primary isn't like a real election. Does that make sense? So they could try to sue, but they won't have any type of standing. Just to be very clear, the primary is not like a real election. Does that make sense? This is something that the Democratic Party holds, not like you're voting for president or anything like that. The Democratic Party, this is within their process. So they can't. I don't know. I feel like there's not going to be any standing. Breaking news: Biden is calling his campaign staff now live. Wow. Is he going to make like he's alive. Is he going to make like a live announcement or just we've received proof of life? Is that sufficient for Lauren Boebert? There's an interplay between the primary and the state law. All 50 states have state laws about primaries for Heritage Foundation to dig through. Oh, yeah, I suppose so. I just don't see. I'll go buy 2 tickets to a play and go to Colorado and ask her. It's on now. Is it like on YouTube or something? Twitter? Hello? Twitter? Come back. Okay, no, this is Kamala Harris. I think a primary might protect the Dem win. Okay, I see a lot of tweets. Maybe it's on YouTube. I'm gonna start getting my news from Jack Dorsey behind a cardboard cutout of a TV. On CNN? Gotcha. I think a primary might protect the Dem win. He's saying he's going to do whatever Kamala wants. Amazing. Oh, wait. I can probably... Go to TV, go to CNN.
As the president said, we are full steam ahead in supporting the vice president, and we are seeing incredible enthusiasm already from our supporters, from Democratic governors to senators to House members to mayors to folks across the country. You know, our Democratic Party is really uniting around our nominee, and we just announced that we raised $81 million in 24 hours. So now I am incredibly honored to bring up the second gentleman to be able to mark a historic day with us today. With that, I'd like to introduce second gentleman Doug Emhoff.
Our nominee, basically.
Wow. Julie, thank you so much. I've known Julie a long, long time, going back to her days working in Kamala's Senate office. And we've put a lot of time together out on the road on the last campaign, and I can't think of anyone better to be leading this campaign. So thank you so much. You're the best. I was just very emotional listening to President Biden just then. I was emotional before I heard that because of who he is and what he represents, the dignity, the empathy. He's had my back personally. Some of my toughest moments as second gentleman. One, leaving the
This
career
kind
that
of, I
loved.
hate
It
this
was
kind of
always the president's
enthusiasm. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, you gotta, you gotta play it. Empathy except for Gaza. Yep.
Either way.
Which, by the way, I saw that, Kamala Harris is going to snub Netanyahu. So, hey, I'll frickin' take it.
We came here the next day. We went to their home, and he said with Dr. Biden, "Welcome to the family. You're now Bidens." And they made us cookies. And they called our kids. And they called my parents. This was day one 4 years ago. And now look where we are now. To have been able to serve as second gentleman with him as our president, Dr. Biden as our first lady. Unbelievable. And now I get to support my wife, Kamala Harris, running for president of the United States. Let me tell you something. We are going to win this election. We are on the right side of every single issue, and we have this team right here and thousands of others all.
Yeah, so this is basically, from what I'm listening, for all intents and purposes, it's basically like saying that Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee. So Kamala is nominated and accepted. Did I miss something? It's a lock. And there she is. This is a coup. No.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Based
Thank you,
and
guys.
coconut
Thank you.
pilled, okay?
Can we just give it up again for my husband? It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us.
So do we.
And we do. Everybody here does.
It's mutual.
Whoa, is that Biden?
You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love
Oh,
you.
bro's
Joe.
alive.
So, Joe, I'm going to recognize some of the electeds who are here, and then I'm going to get back to you. Hold on a second. So let me please acknowledge some extraordinary national leaders who are also dear friends, both
It's
to the
gross. All
president.
politics are gross.
John Carney, where are you? There you are. and his wife, they are here. Senator Tom Carper, my former colleague, and his wife is here. Chris Coons, my dear friend. Attorney General Kathy Jennings. The mayor is here. Brzezinski, where are you? There. And the next United States Senator from the great state of Delaware is here, Lisa And I know everyone here has seen these elected leaders in this very campaign office on a regular basis. And I know Joe is so thankful to them for their lifelong friendship, but I want to thank them also because you guys have really been caring.
All right, so I don't know. We'll keep coming back to see like what's this about. I'm pretty sure this just means that she's practically the nominee, right? Yeah, I love that emote.
To thank everybody and to express just what we know to be true. You all have been working so hard. The people in this office have been working so hard. And you have given so much.
Crazy that they haven't made it clear. I mean, it looks like we're about to witness like an acceptance speech, right? That's what it looks like. I mean, I'm here to the I'm late to the party here. I didn't see the beginning. I'm late to the party here, but it almost sounds like essentially like an acceptance speech, like it's all but happening, you know?
Was said for many, many, many months, and I say it today. Thank you all so very much for what you are doing and what you will continue to do. So let's applaud the team. And I know it's been a roller coaster, and we're all filled with so many mixed emotions about this. I just have to say, I love Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden, and I know we all do, and we have so many darn good reasons for loving Joe Biden. And I have full faith that this team will be the reason we win in November. You all who are here. And as Julie always says, and I will quote the great Julie, we are one team, one fight.
I thought it was a done deal. That's what it sounds like to me.
And she's been an extraordinary campaign manager. She's going to continue in this role and see us to victory in November. And we are all here because we love our country, right? And we believe in our foundational principles. We believe in freedom and opportunity and justice, not for some, but for all. And so we have 106 days until Election Day, and in that time we have some hard work to do. And as JOD always reminds us, we can do hard things. JOD has been such an incredible leader of this team, and that is why I have just asked her to run my campaign, and she has accepted.
Yeah, this sounds like basically she is.
And so over the next 106 days, we are going to take
like as if she's going to, you know, prepare. You know, it's not a done deal until the delegates vote, right? But like, it sounds like it's all but certain after yesterday's today. Wow, dude, awesome, cool. I'm so glad you let me know that. It's all presumptive until official, which won't be until the convention. Yeah, it's next month in a couple weeks.
Just over a lifetime, but just over the last 3.5 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who served 2 terms in office. Think about it. And I know everyone here in the campaign, we know. But if we don't know, we got a problem. But I'm going to repeat some for those who might be guests at the moment. Joe got the COVID-19 pandemic under control. Remember those days? He has created more than 15 million new jobs. He brought together Republicans and Democrats.
her only competitor is the American Samoa guy. I mean, like, is it honestly worth trying to like? Is it worth trying to go like trying to rehabilitate Joe Biden, or would it be more prudent, or would it be more prudent to put forth her plan as to what she's going to offer as a candidate? Having a public event like this is better for her than a random tweet. That's true.
Many of you may know I first came to know Joe through his son, Beau. Beau and I worked together as state attorneys general. And back then, Beau would often tell me stories about his dad. And he would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. And he would talk about the qualities of his father. And the qualities that Beau revered the most are the same qualities that I see every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big, big heart, and his deep love of our country.
Just not big enough to stop sending weapons, I suppose. Her plan is to continue Joe with less Ginny cider. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll take the less Jenny cider.
And seeing him on the global stage with world leaders, President, deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
Is she writing a children's book? This is like Joe Biden's send-off, right? Is that what this is? Like, is this like the proverbial, like, Joe Biden riding off to the sunset and politics-wise with him passing the torch? Is that what this is?
You're the best, kid.
And let us be very clear, Joe is not done. Far from it. He knows there is still more work to do, and our nation will continue
Mission
to praise
accomplished.
his bold and visionary leadership as president. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And it is my great honor to have Joe's endorsement in this race.
You sure do.
And it is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win.
A little of that and a little of Kamala's accepting winning the nomination. Yeah, that's what this sounds like.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
Cop versus convicted felon dynamic already playing out.
Predators who abused women. Fraudsters who ripped off consumers. Cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Cop Mala, indeed. Trump is already trying to get out of the next debate. He doesn't want none of that smoke.
And in this campaign,
He doesn't want none of the smoke.
I will proudly put my record against his.
You arrested black people for just smoking weed, Kamala. Yes, in truancy. That's true.
California, I specialize in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed.
Cop beats felon,
As
rock,
district
paper,
attorney,
scissors, lizard, Spock. I caught that
I
reference.
created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud. But make no mistake, all of that being said, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more.
Is the hand signal for a cop just a middle finger? Yes, that's the universal hand signal against all cops.
About two different versions of what we see as the future of our country, two different visions for the future of our country. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth, and where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable child care. That's the future we see. Together, we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care, where every worker is paid fairly.
I'd like to point out that in 2019, Kamala Harris actually supported Medicare for all. In a different time.
Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for. He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and made working families pay the cost.
Lots of parents in the crowd, they explode over the mention of child care.
Medicare on the chopping block. Back to policies that treat health care as only a privilege for the wealthy instead of what we all know it should be, which is a right for every American.
Whoa! So
America has tried.
That's true. So maybe we should have a system where everyone gets health care regardless. Man, if there was only a policy proposal for that.
We are not going back. You're not taking us back. Our fight for the future is also a fight for freedom. Generations of Americans before us have led the fight for freedom, from our founders to our framers, to the abolitionists and the suffragettes, to the freedom riders and farm workers. And now I say, team, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote. We who are committed to fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who will fight for reproductive freedom, knowing if Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every single state, but we are not going to let that happen. It is this team here that is going to help in this November to elect a majority of members of the United States Congress.
The jump from Don't Quit Joe to I'm with her is mind-blowingly fast. Yep. Like literally within 24, less than 48 hours. That's for sure.
Into law. Indeed, we the people. So ultimately, to all the friends here, I say, in this election, we know we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? Yes! Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? No! You all are here because you as leaders know we each, including our neighbors and our friends and our family, we each, as Americans, have the power to answer that question. That's the beauty of it, the power of the people. We each have the ability to answer that question. So in the next 106 days, we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much convinced that she's going to be the nominee. Unrelated, there's a listeria outbreak, so if you like Lunch Me, look up your state to see if there has been a contamination there. Yikes. Pelosi, let's just finish this here. Pelosi pushed him and left us with no plan. Is it Harris? Who knows? A former Democratic leadership aide said. But I do know that Republicans will definitely spend millions of dollars trying to tie this up in court, and it could be worse than the 2000 election. I disagree with that. For 23 days, President Biden insisted on pushing forward with his re-election bid in the face of the calls of Democratic lawmakers and donors for him to step aside. Then, almost on a dime, things changed. Early Saturday, Biden told senior aides it was full steam ahead for the campaign, but by later that evening, he had changed his mind following a long discussion with his two closest aides. Steve Ricchetti, who has been with Biden since his days, or Ricchetti? I don't know. Drove to see the president at his house on the Delaware Shore on Friday. Mike Donilon arrived Saturday. The two men of both who have been Biden's aides, who have been by Biden's side during the key decision about whether to seek the presidency in 2016 and 2020, sat at a distance from the president, still testing positive for COVID, and presenting damning new information in a meeting that would hasten the end of Biden's political career. The last thing she says is, God bless our country and God bless Joe Biden. Amazing. I'm waiting to see someone in full MAGA gear, red hat and ear bandage, diapers, and ugly gold shoes. Oh, that's there. I don't think we have. I don't think we have bingo. But there's definitely pictures of MAGA people with MAGA gear, the red hat, the bandage. Not sure about the diapers, and not sure about the gold shoes, but I'm sure there's somebody with most of that. A few people. In addition to presenting new concerns from lawmakers and updates on fundraising operation that had slowed considerably, they carried the campaign's own polls, which came back this week and showed his path to victory in November was gone. So, yeah. According to five people familiar with the matter, who, like others interviewed for this article, were granted anonymity to discuss private conversations. Biden asked several questions during the exchange. Biden asked several questions during the exchange. The only other people with Biden in the residence when he arose Sunday were First Lady Joe Biden and two other trusted aides, Deputy Chief of Staff Annie Tomasini and the Assistant to the First Lady Anthony Bernal. Sinan Pasha, thank you for the follow. At 1:14 p.m., he notified a somewhat larger group of close aides that he had decided the night before to end his quest for another term, reading his letter and thanking them for their service. A minute later, before any other campaign and White House staffers could be notified, he posted his historic letter from his campaign account on the social media Twitter. Cool story, bro. The announcement, which shocked the political world, almost immediately flipped the narrative around Biden. His own party, after 3 weeks of deriding him privately as an isolated, deluded lion in winter, dragging other Democrats down with him, was showering him with loving tributes, praising his career of public service, and a selfless decision they said put his country first. It wasn't that the president had grown tired of the drip of defections from within his own party, although he had to. Rather, it was Biden himself was finally convinced of what so many other Dems have come to believe since his poor debate performance last month, that he just couldn't win. When Campaign commissioned new battleground polling over the last week, it was the first time they had done surveys in some key states in more than 2 months, according to people familiar with the survey. Jesus Christ. In 2 months? Wow. And the numbers were grim, showing Biden not just trailing in all 6 critical swing states, but collapsing in places like Virginia and New Mexico, where Democrats had not planned on needing to spend massive resources to win. With that knowledge and the awareness that more party elders, including more of his former Senate colleagues, would pile on the public pressure campaign, a sudden exit offered the president his best chance to make it appear that the decision came on his own terms. It was a face-saving move of high importance to Joe Biden, who, according to people familiar with the recent conversations, was adamant that her husband's dignity be preserved. Whatever. Senior Biden aides were bracing for former House Speaker Pelosi, who would work behind the scenes to encourage others in the party towards the kind of collective action that might finally push the president to end his campaign. To go public this week and possibly even disclose Democratic polling, clarifying Biden's dire political straits. Nancy made it clear that she would do the easy way or the hard way, said one Democrat familiar with private conversations who was granted anonymity to speak candidly. She gave them 3 weeks of the easy way and it was about to be the hard way. You know, I want to know who these anonymous Democrats are. These are heroes. With Biden vowing in a statement to return to the campaign trail next week, some in the party came to believe that more direct and public opposition might be the only way to convince Biden to step aside. At least half a dozen House and Senate Democrats, including senior lawmakers, had planned to call for the president to leave the campaign on Monday and Tuesday, according to a lawmaker who had a pre-drafted statement. We were giving him the respect of the weekend to make his decision. We were hopeful that this is the decision we would make, said the Democrat. This lawmaker had previously spoken with dozens of lawmakers in recent weeks about their district-level polling and voter concerns back home, said they had already been sharing that data with the Biden campaign team on a regular basis. On Capitol Hill, Democratic leadership sensed Biden's decision was coming. A lawmaker close to leadership, granted anonymity to speak candidly, said the president had gone offline in recent days as he spent time with family, a signal that he was digesting several weeks of firm Democratic messages that he needed to step aside. He got the message, said the House Democrat, granted anonymity to speak frankly. Referring to the Senate Majority Leader, House Minority Leader, and Speaker Emeritus, lawmaker said it was from Chuck Hakeem Pelosi. This account of what led to the president's reversal is based on conversations with 22 people who were granted anonymity to discuss sensitive matters. Ever since the debate, Biden and his closest aides have been determined to rebound, convinced that he remained his party's best chance to defeat former President Trump, and optimistic that they could contain the fallout. An energetic rally in Raleigh, North Carolina, the day after the debate, offered the president a chance to reframe his disastrous performance and more directly address the questions about his age and stamina, which exploded after his halting, confused, and soft-spoken utterances besides Trump. An aides hoped that series of sit-down television interviews would show the country that Biden's debate could indeed be chalked up to a bad night. Nope, spoiler alert, that never materialized. But the country had seen what it had seen on the debate stage. At 81, Biden was clearly no longer the same figure he had been just 4 years ago. And as the president and his team maintained a determined posture to move forward, more of the party's more important voices began to act, determined to escalate a delicate pressure campaign aimed at replacing him as the Democratic nominee. This is wild. At a moment when it seemed like Biden might be able to withstand calls for him to step aside, Pelosi appeared on MSNBC Morning Joe. Yeah, we know this. Yada, yada, yada. 3 days after, over 3 days late last week, Biden spoke privately with Pelosi, Jeffries, and Schumer. The Senate leader traveled to visit the president last Saturday at his vacation home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Jeffries put out a statement about his meeting with Biden at the White House, but did not tip his hand about the tenor of the conversation. Shortly after the NATO summit, which the president hosted, closed up news leaked that Pelosi, in their private conversation with Biden, had urged him to consider stepping aside. Within 24 hours, story has emerged that Schumer, whose visit to Biden had gone undetected by the media, had delivered a similar message. Those leaks, which coincided with a Washington Post report that the former President Barack Obama was also expressing concern about Biden's campaign, privately signaled to other Dems who had yet to express private concerns publicly that the time to do so was at hand. But Biden's sharp broadsides towards Trump during a rally in Detroit last Friday seemed to bolster his inner circle and allies who wanted him to stick it out. Does picking over history help Dems now? When you have a car crash, how do you clean it up and create a shiny new replacement vehicle? You don't. You just get the next best thing. The entire situation is bad, and Biden is responsible for not stepping down earlier. But now that we're here, Kamala Harris is going to be probably the best path that the Dems have at this time. She's most likely going to be the one driving said new vehicle. But Biden's sharp broadside toward Trump at a rally in Detroit last week, it was the president's best attempt since his feckless debate to take the fight more directly at the controversial former president and to shift the narrative driving the campaign away from his teetering candidacy back towards the contrast Democrats viewed as essential to Biden's chances. But that shift was short-lived. The following day, an assassin's bullet came within millimeters of killing Trump, who was struck in the ear while speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. After the Secret Service pulled him to the ground, Trump, his face streaked with blood, raised a defiant fist before, yada, 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 saying, fight, fight, fight. Set the stage for a Raptors 4 days of programming at the Republican convention in Milwaukee. More importantly, they sharpened the contrast at the center of Trump's campaign strategy, presenting the former president as the embodiment of strength against an increasingly frail Biden. In the midst of the GOP convention, Biden abruptly ended a 2-day campaign swing in Las Vegas after testing positive for COVID, flying back to Rehoboth Beach, where he has remained out of sight since Wednesday evening. Among the small group of aides in Delaware with the president, including at least one who saw Biden on Saturday, only his closest confidants had any sense that he was about to reverse course. The silver lining is that you have the chance for a 2-term president now. A 2-term president. I don't know what that means. Because Biden would be effectively a 1-term president. Now it would be Kamala Harris, unless you mean that Kamala Harris has now the opportunity to be a 2-term president, which technically she does. The president's family and a number of tenured aides had been dead set against him dropping out, recalling crisis after crisis over the course of Biden's political career, in which they had banded together and bounced back. So, man, this is one heck of a mission to get this guy to step down. On Saturday night, some in Biden's inner circle insisted on one high-level Democrat that the president was determined to stay in the race, no ifs, ands, or buts. But when the Democrat checked in again on Sunday morning, they told Politico they were told that there was no way Biden would consider dropping out until after his planned meeting this week with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But at that point, Biden and Donald Richetti had working on his exit plan. The majority of aides at the White House and the campaign were shocked by the reversal as well. Shortly after the tweet went out, Dunn convened a phone call for communication staffers, according to multiple aides. Dunn reassured staffers who had been insisting to press that Biden wasn't thinking about quitting had been correct based on the information they had up until the president's thinking had changed. Wow. If the Dems unite, you can win for the next 8 years. Well, that depends. If Kamala delivers, if Kamala Harris delivers and actually provides something for the American people, then she should deserve to win another term. It's that simple. We're going to do this one very quickly. A short list of Dems who could be the vice president pick for Kamala Harris. Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor. Roy Cooper. Mark Kelly. Andy Beshear. Pritzker. Pete Buttigieg, Big Gretch, Gavin Newsom. You can't predict 8 years into the future. In 2006, the Republican Party was done for a generation. In 2010, they took most power back. Yep. Was there anything Biden was doing wrong on his policy? If not, you have the roadmap already. Yeah, it's the whole genocide thing. Is that really? First of all, we needed more. We needed more from Biden, especially on the climate crisis, and the whole genocide thing is a problem. Which Kamala has the opportunity to change that. Kamala has the opportunity to show that the Democratic Party responds to its base. If it doesn't, then like there's no point. Roy Cooper. That's what this is going to be about, essentially. Voting rights too. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. If she fails to deliver, then yeah, she shouldn't get a second term. It's that simple. Could Biden have delivered any more when Republicans had the Congress for the last 2 years? So what happened in the first 2 years when he had Congress? Also, again, he could not aid and abet genocide. That's like a thing he could do. That's not dependent on Congress. And now the very normal response from the right.
They held a primary. People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths.
Republican talking heads are losing their damn minds over the fact that Joe Biden has withdrawn and endorsed Kamala Harris. So I have a few fun clips to share with you, and I'll get to my favorite near the end of this video with Sean Hannity. Wait for that. He's got nothing. It's fun to watch. But first, Stephen Miller, who was on with Laura Ingraham, and
was that Miller without the bad spray hair? Indeed. Indeed.
is really, as I said, just losing his mind.
They held a primary.
The wider world is all saying Biden will go down as the best president ever. I don't know about that. I feel like we could probably like I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. I feel like we're doing a lot of stretching here, to say that President Biden is the best president ever. I don't know if we're gonna stretch that far. No, I don't think so.
People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths. They spent money on advertisements. And as President Trump said, the Republican Party spent tens of millions of dollars running against Joe Biden. Now they just woke up one morning and said, never mind, we're canceling the entire primary. We're getting rid of our candidate, and we're pretending the election has never even happened, and we're going to let donors handpick a new nominee. They're publicly admitting that they are an oligarchy. They are not running a democracy. They are not running a...
This is rich coming from Stephen Miller. Amazing. The fact that he's now all up in arms about democracy is hilarious. Who do you rate as better? You know, the problem is you're going to find some serious issues with every single president that you could possibly think of. Which is why I don't engage in that, because like it just seems kind of silly. It just seems kind of silly. You see, Biden is hard to beat. No, that's not the takeaway from that statement. The takeaway is there is no best president. You know, like There's so much disgusting things that presidents have done. Even people that you would think were pretty good. Man, FDR did like the New Deal, and issued a lot of important reforms. FDR was at the head when World War II was happening, and yet he was essentially doing internment camps for U.S. citizens. That's pretty freaking disgusting. That's right. They're all war criminals who deserve to burn in hell. Every single president has been a war criminal. Every single one. Yes. Correct. So, to say that you want to make a tier list is kind of weird. I also don't like to elevate any single politician, because it just seems kind of silly. So the takeaway there is not, oh, Biden is hard to beat. The takeaway here is there is no best president. Does that make sense?
Representative Republic. This is an oligarchy controlled by business interests, and the Democratic Convention is the private
As opposed to the Republican Party? Question mark.
Corporation that represents those business interests. This is as full frontal an attack on American democracy as we've ever seen in the history of America's major.
That's amazing. It's amazing coming from Stephen Miller. That's amazing coming from Stephen Miller. You want to know it's an attack on American democracy? What about the constant rhetoric about rigged elections that culminated into an actual insurrection? What about that? What about the fact that this guy's party attempted to overthrow or to change the outcome of an election? How about that for a threat to democracy? The U.S. is an oligarchy controlled by business interests. Right. The fact that he thinks that it's just limited to the Democratic Party, or just pretending that it's only the Democratic Party, is hilarious to me.
Political parties.
I really hope they go with that line. I really do, because it will just continue the conversation that they were the ones that tried to steal an election. Trump still to this day is denying that he lost an election.
Right.
And you're going to try and claim that this is an attack on democracy? There wasn't even a proper primary. They canceled some of the primary states. This was an incumbent president. Insane to try and argue this, but please continue making this argument, as it'll just remind everybody that your candidate tried to steal an election. And on the point about, this is the party of oligarchs, are you out of your mind? J.D. Vance, the VP pick for Trump, was picked because of his connection to big money. This is from The Guardian. Tech broligarchs are lining up to court Trump, and Vance is one more link in the chain. Peter Thiel has been close buddies with Vance forever. This is exactly why Vance is in the position that he is in, despite the fact that he was talking shit about Trump in 2016, because he thought at the time that was the way for him to make it big. But J.D. Vance, chasing power, realized after Trump won, hey, I could just go with this party and lie my way to the top, and that's exactly what he did. Look at this. Peter Thiel and Trump right here. Are you kidding me? Not to mention, just last week, Elon Musk said he is committing around $45 million a month.
Amazing.
One guy committing $45 million a month to a pro-Trump super PAC. The party of oligarchs, right here.
People love hating on Trump. Yeah, it's really easy to hate on a fascist thug who tried to overthrow democracy. Yeah, it's pretty. In fact, I think it's moral obligation to do so. Yeah. True.
Unbelievable. Insanity. Let me get now to Kellyanne Conway, who is, this argument is rich.
She had disastrous staff turnover as vice president. I check it on the daily. Her public schedule, gentlemen,
Check it on the daily.
rarely has anything on it or one or two things on it. She does not speak well. She does not work hard.
All right, so
she doesn't
Kellyanne,
inspire
let me
anyone.
ask you.
And she should not be the standard bearer for the party. Yes, sir.
The projection here.
Amazing. Man, the arguments. Says the group that says F Joe Biden, right? True.
Here is absolutely incredible. Doesn't
Has
work
made an entire cult personality around that phrase. True.
hard. Donald Trump spent almost an entire year playing golf during his presidency. 307 days of his presidency was spent playing golf. What? You're going to complain about somebody else's work ethic? Not to mention here, this is Kellyanne Conway's ex-husband, George Conway. Not everyone can express themselves as eloquently and with such exquisite turns of phrase as Donald Trump. That's, of course, to her argument that she doesn't speak well. Like, why are you making arguments that are just reminding people about how terrible Donald Trump is? Unbelievable. And in terms of the staff turnover, are you kidding me? Again, it's projection after projection.
I check it on the daily. I think him playing golf was the least bad thing Trump did while president. Honestly, facts.
After projection. Trump, overall, between Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush again, Obama, Trump, the highest year-over-year turnover. And then, of course, when it comes to the cabinet, not even close. Clearly, the most turnover. You're going to complain about somebody else's staff turnover? What?
Every accusation is just a projection, is just a confession. That's it. It's all it is projection, right? That's it. There's nothing there's nothing more deeper than that. When these conservatives go on and try to make these claims, it's usually just them that are like this.
What? Insane. Let me get to the Sean Hannity clip now, because this one is just, you got to laugh at how ridiculous this is, because it is about laughing.
Here's just one reason that voters seem to detest Kamala Harris. You decide.
Okay, so
You are we are special.
Man, really top tier reporting going on at Fox, huh?
And is that a socialist or progressive perspective?
No. I thought.
Amazing. Can I get the context of what that was for that she answered like that? That's hilarious.
We were supposed to conserve things. I couldn't reconcile it. Now I can.
Yes, you're giggling, Vice President.
This is primetime Fox News.
It is.
Sean Hannity.
It literally is. This is primetime Fox News. This is where we're at, folks.
Is supposed to be making some strong arguments against Kamala Harris,
Nope.
because that is his job as the Fox News guy in prime time.
Nope.
Her laughing? This is your central point? That Kamala Harris likes to laugh, is a person, shows human emotion. Unfreaking believable how insane this is. And to bolster this point, you likely already saw this, but this is
Sure, it's not idiocracy. I mean, if you saw the, oh my god, the RNC when freaking Hulk Hogan made his speech, and then like he ripped off his shirt in the like after he was like done with his speech or in the middle of his speech, like man, that is just like 10 out of 10 representation there. 10 out of 10 representation of idiocracy right there. I don't understand how Sean Hannity is still on TV. He's not a good broadcaster. Me neither.
Donald Trump's nickname for Kamala Harris.
From the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala.
Laughing Kamala.
You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy.
Amazing.
You know, you can tell a lot by her laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts.
Amazing.
She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi. Crazy Nancy.
I call her Laughing Kamala. She laughs too much, folks. She is too happy as a person. Are you out of your fucking minds? Oh my God. This is going to be a fun campaign. This is going to be hilarious. Here's another one. This incredibly popular policy, single-payer healthcare, she once supported it.
As a senator, she co-sponsored a bill with Bernie Sanders that would force Americans into socialized single-payer health care, that kind of system.
Yeah. Yeah. And? I don't get it. Where's the bad side to this? I'm confused.
So Kamala Harris co-sponsored a bill with the most popular politician in the country, Bernie Sanders. This is 2017. Still the most popular sitting politician in the country. She co-sponsored a bill with this incredibly popular guy for an incredibly popular policy. This is your big argument against her? Please continue. Continue making these arguments. It'll work out well. Insane.
It does, unfortunately. It does work because, like, the median Fox voter is like the median Fox voter. What can I say? It does work. I prefer Bernie as a candidate. Yeah, well, me too. But here we are. I wish we were on the fourth year of a Bernie Sanders administration, but that didn't happen.
These people are crazy. Let me get to the last clip here. This is from RNC Research. These guys are in the weeds. They're digging deep for all the terrible clips about Kamala Harris. This is the one they pulled out. Watch this, and I'll explain the context.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion about some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
This is what they have on her. So even without the context that I'm going to give you in a second here, who cares? It's a clip where Kamala Harris is talking with people and describing what she's wearing. In context,
yeah, you can already tell, like, even without the context, she's obviously there's a reason why she's doing this. Right? Like, it's probably for disabled people. Maybe blind, maybe I don't know.
It's even more disgusting that they're trying to use it to attack her. So, as was corrected on Twitter, this is a recording of a meeting with disability advocates, which included blind and...
Yeah, there you go. Blind and low vision members. Even if there wasn't, then it was weird. It's still nothing. Yeah.
And low vision members. They have nothing. This is what they got? Clips of her laughing? Clips of her meeting with blind and low vision members and describing what she's wearing? This is what they have. Her supporting an incredibly popular policy with the most popular politician in the country. This is what they have? It is incredible. This campaign is going to be so much more enjoyable than a Biden campaign would have been. Like, we're 18 hours into it. She isn't even the official candidate yet. There's supposed to be a process in place with the convention to officially nominate her, but she has all the big endorsements. She likely is going to be the nominee. This is going to be amazing.
I don't know about amazing, but definitely better odds than what we were looking at just literally a day ago. Definitely better. Definitely a better situation than what we were looking at a day ago with Genocide Joe. I mean, again, I'm here. My whispers and DMs are open for apologies to all the smug liberals. Apologies are accepted. A first of its kind free food market opens in San Francisco. Without this, some of us won't make it. When Nancy Gonzalez walked into D10 Community Market in San Francisco on a recent afternoon, her refrigerator at home was empty. Right now, I'm out of food stamps and WIC, said Gonzalez, 25, referring to the USDA supplemental food program for women, infants, and children. She pushed her 1-month-old daughter in a stroller as her sister-in-law and 2-year-old niece followed with a shopping cart choosing the necessities: milk, eggs, bread, cornmeal, fresh pasta, and organic fruits and vegetables such as strawberries, red onions, and sweet potato. All for free with no line. Without this, some of us won't make it. Wow! The market, which sits within a few blocks of 7 transportation lines in historically black Bayview neighborhood, is a brainchild of local lawmakers and community advocates. During the Second World War, the Bayview was a large and more connected community, saturated with blackness, said Shaman Walton, the supervisor for the district, which includes the Bayview, nearby Hunters Point, among others neighborhoods. A naval shipyard attracted black workers, and the southeast corner of the city flourished with an economic center. When the shipyard closed after the war ended, racist hiring and housing policies drove families out of work and out of the city. Now, just under a third of residents here that live at or below the poverty line, and a quarter of residents are children. Sheesh. I won't hold my breath for that. No, I won't either. Dan, anonymously, I want to apologize because I agreed with you the whole time. Thank you. Thank you. Now, just a third. Oh, yes. 25. Whoa. San Francisco's citywide black population is only 6.3%, while Bayview Hunters Point is home to 25.8% black people, according to the most recent U.S. Census from 2020, a decrease of nearly half since 2000, as more and more black families have been forced to leave the city. Grocery stores have opened and closed, and with limited options, the neighborhood has remained a food desert. Inspired by similar markets in Nashville and Santa Barbara, city and community leaders set out to transform a former Italian grocery that served ravioli and tagliarni before closing in the 80s. They fixed the sidewalk, repaired the electricity, and brightened the 4,000 square feet space with white paint and preserved the white hexagonal penny tile floor. I'm in heaven, said Jessica P. 58, who walked along a cooler of vegetables, which she picked cans from shelves. With a lot of free stuff, they give you some BS that you don't want and you're not going to eat. This is totally different. It's enjoyable. That's what Maggie Sugarman likes to hear. Sugarman, the director of the market, thinks how best to serve her clients, from store hours to the food she stocks and how they might be prepared at home. There's a cornbread mix clients can make in the microwave, and canned soups and frozen meals for those without working stoves, plus granola bars and fruit cups for families who pack lunches for kids. I just want there to be equality across lunch boxes, Sugarman said. The granola bars are more processed, but sometimes you don't serve what can be paternalistic. We want to keep people healthy, but these are working families. The market freezes their meat so they last longer, buys bananas at their greenest, and takes the top off beets and celery to extend the freshness. Scraps are used to feed the chickens and sheep of volunteers, so nothing goes to waste. Clients are pulled on their way out too, so Sugarman can continue to be culturally responsive, making sure they always have coconut milk or maseca, a popular instant corn masa flour, or the right kinds of noodles, from cellophane to egg to spaghetti. The market is first in 2 ways. It's funded by the city through San Francisco Human Services Agency rather than charitable organizations. Nice. And it lets clients choose instead of handing them a box of foods that they may or may not like or know how to cook, reducing food waste and increasing a sense of dignity. Nice. I'm a single parent, said Adelina Contreras, 43, who was shopping with her 2 children and a cousin. I already did the groceries for the month, and now we're here at mid-month, and things are really running low. Today is a time where we really need it. Contreras, like many other shoppers, likes the produce the best, and she enjoys meat selections with her children while her children loves the snacks. Sugarman sourced the produce from a farm in Watsonville, 100 miles south of San Francisco, where she'd worked previously, and noticed a pile of 10-foot high of produce that couldn't sell at farmers markets or didn't have time to harvest. She connected the socially minded family with the market, and now once every couple of weeks, the farmers offload that produce here to the delight of 500 clients. The market will be open twice a week as it ramps up to serve 1,500 people who must live in a nearby zip code, receive public assistance, and have a child at home. Shoppers receive a membership card similar to Costco and signs in English, Spanish, Samoan, and simplified Chinese, directed to diverse clientele. Referral partners are on hand to check in about clients' needs. Quote, it provides an informal space for people to touch base with their care providers. We want these services to go hand in hand. Nice. This is really cool. This is really cool. This should be a expanded idea. Kamala needs to know. Yep. It's the latest in a series of investments that San Francisco has made in Bayview, Hunters Point. In the last few years, the neighborhood has welcomed a brand new multi-story community center, a refurbished local pool and playground, and an extensive ongoing waterfront renovation, including a new park alongside a decommissioned power plant with a playground that won an award from UNICEF. The local shopping center has a new coat of paint, and the main corridor has seen a resurgence of black-owned businesses, from a coffee shop to an ice cream store to a gumbo restaurant and a nail and hair salon. We are still the last place in the city where we have good concentration of black people. Walton said the Bayview has the best weather, and we are the most affordable place in San Francisco. If you can call anything affordable, we're one of the last communities where kids still play on the street. Nice. Woo, F capitalism, feed the people. Yeah, it's almost like, if you just solve the problem directly, it turns out that government resources can actually be put forward to doing something good and important. It turns out that government can actually do something good. I wish I could have had more fresh food, but still don't have proper fridge. Yikes. Sorry to hear that, Cognizant. All right, folks. It's time for me to get going. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. If you want to keep up with the channel, hit the follow button. Keep liking the stream on YouTube. Thank you. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Consider joining the Discord. We have a new merch store that was just launched. Consider checking that out with ! merch. I just ordered a bunch of sample stuff, so I'm gonna check out how that's gonna turn out. But definitely looks good to me. Thank you, Kamikazeon. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all. I appreciate your support. You guys are what makes this channel grow. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. Hang tight, folks.
Change on the subway train.
right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. Hey, wait. Oh, okay. Bye-bye, everybody.